check your windows, call your priest, and hide your split pea soup, because the demons are coming, and they're renting ad space in Melbourne. Hello, everyone. I just wanted to share this with you today, because I found it at least a little bit amusing. So this is a case report from the Ad Standards Community Panel, which is part of the... Yes, and the AANA, as you can see here, is the Australian Association of National Advertisers. It's the leading industry and self-regulatory body for advertisers and marketers in Australia. And what happened was someone raised a complaint with the AANA about this billboard that we see right here. So we're just going to go through this now. This case was dismissed, as you can see here, as of the 14th of June this year. So the issues raised were with the AANA Code of Ethics, specifically 2.1 discrimination or vilification and 2.3 violence. Billboard advertisement depicts a horned woman. Obviously I can clarify here. This is an advertisement for Diablo 4. Which we've already spoken about on my channel. Check out the video if you haven't already. And yes, someone in Melbourne presumably has had quite the issue with this billboard. So the billboard advertisement depicts a horned woman on a red and black background. The text states, quote, "Welcome to hell, city," end quote. The complaint, which the complainant or complainants made regarding this advertisement included the following: offensive to Christians, Catholics, improper use of the comma there, or apostrophe, excuse me, religious reasons, and it's promoting evil and satanic paraphernalia. The words "Welcome to Hell, Melbourne" as part of the advertisement for this game and a picture of a devil are offensive to me as a Christian. The imagery is also inappropriate for my children to see and has already, that's another typo, given them nightmares. The imagery is frightening to children as the demonic-looking character is staring at the camera, creating the effect of staring at the observer. It is located in a prominent position beside a busy freeway where children have a clear view of the very large billboard. I feel it's inappropriate to show such disgusting and disturbing content on a billboard where children are seeing this on a daily basis. It has no context, and for an adult of 43, I found it unsettling. It's scary for young children who see it, but even as an adult, it brought back memories of the hell of the 2 years of lockdown in Melbourne. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Even as an adult, it brought back memories of the hell of the 2 years of lockdowns in Melbourne. The language and words used are not necessary to get across the message about the release of this game. Okay, so, let's have another look at this billboard up here. All right, here it is. Here's the blasphemy billboard. So, obviously, saying "welcome to hell" is intentionally being provocative. It is. It is intentionally provocative. That's why they did it, right? That being said, this advertisement campaign, which was worldwide, didn't always exactly pan out as they were expecting. So for anyone, and I imagine anyone on the East Coast that remembers the wildfires, would remember that it led to this particular image in Times Square, New York. Welcome to hell, New York, when the sky was choked with ashen clouds from the Canadian wildfires. So yeah, this advertisement was worldwide. It didn't always pan out as Blizzard were expecting, but it did lead to some unintentionally funny moments, such as this one in New York, and also, I have to say, this one in Australia as well. The Ad Standards Community Panel did respond, and they were quite thorough in their response, actually. So the response that they made is about 4 pages in length. So this part here, they basically they went through all the specific parts of their code that this could be in breach of, and they state why it's not in breach. So they start by saying, "We do not believe that the adverts cited breach the AANA Code of Ethics in any way. We have set out below the reasons why we feel this isn't a breach of each subsection of Section 2 of the code, starting with 2 subsections specifically called out in the complaint. 2.1. There is no indication in the ads of any discrimination or adverse feeling to a specific religion, any person or section of the community or religion in general, or any other characteristic listed in that section. The ads do not include in any way references to the satanic occult and do not normalize or celebrate it in any way. The ads also do not depict or promote the devil. The quote, welcome to hell, end quote, refers to a fictional location that a person will visit as part of the gameplay in their quest to defeat the fictional villain portrayed in the ads. Given the punctuation, it does not state or imply that Brisbane or Melbourne is, quote, hell, and as such is not derogatory to these cities or any of their inhabitants. I feel that's quite a nice response there. So yeah, they're very quick to say here that it is not a specific event to, you know, it's not a specific reference to the satanic occult, or celebrating it. I think probably the response that you could make here is that the hell and the demons depicted in Diablo are coded. They are coded in classical Christian imagery, right? You know, if you ask people around the world what a devil or a devil analogy in their particular culture looks like, you'll get a lot of different responses, right? But in Europe, and therefore in places like North America, Australia, anywhere like that, if you ask someone to describe a devil, they will describe horns, maybe red skin, cloven hooves, goat's legs, maybe, you know, like any of that classic Judeo-Christian imagery, which we kind of built up over time. So while I would say it's coded, it's not making a specific reference. They are being quite coy here, saying, "Oh well, you know, we're not depicting the actual hell," but the use of hell here is a clear reference to the, as I say, the Judeo-Christian hell. You know. 2.3, the ads do not depict or encourage violence. The ads are static images portraying a fictional character. The game's title, a marketing slogan referring to an in-game location and the game's release date. No gameplay is depicted. The ads also do not include images that give the impression that a character has just committed violence against someone, was the victim of violence, or is about to commit violence against someone. Therefore, we do not believe this section applies. Yeah, that's just true. Yeah, there's if you look at this billboard, while someone who is deeply offended by it could say that it committed violence against me and my beliefs, the code of ethics here is specifically about the act of violence, right? And there's nothing, like, if there was blood dripping off her horns, I guess, then you could maybe make that argument, but there isn't. Okay, and then they go through the rest of the code here. There is no use of sexual appeal in the ads. Language used in the ads is not explicit or obscene. I feel this person would probably disagree and say the use of hell, but by the standards of the AANA, it's not. There is no material in the ads which would be counter to health and safety. Yeah, unless the billboard fell on someone, and even then, I don't think that's necessarily the fault of the ad itself. The ads are clearly an ad, as demonstrated by the inclusion of the title, the age rating, yep, the publisher's name, and a gaming platform branding in the Brisbane ad. Given the game, oh, this is interesting. Okay, I wasn't aware this was the case. So, given the game's age rating, which was included in the ads, and the fact that the product, and by extension the ads, are not directed primarily at children, we do not think that the AANA Code of Advertising and Marketing Communications to Children apply here, and as such, we haven't addressed them in detail. As the ads do not relate to food, beverages, wagering, or vehicles, and do not make any environmental claims, we have also not addressed them in terms of the sections of the code applicable to those advertisements. So in order to be held to the children advertising standards, it really has to look like, it has to be clearly directed towards children. If this was an ad for Paw Patrol, and Paw Patrol went to hell, then it would apply. I'd actually watch that as well. The complaints state that the complaints state that the ad was viewed on billboards on the motorway. The average person driving a vehicle on motorways is likely above the game's age rating. I'm sorry. That's a little cheeky. I like that. They're basically saying here, if you're old enough to drive a car, you're old enough to see this ad. We also note that GOA, which displayed the ad in Brisbane, and QMS, which displayed the ad in Melbourne, consulted on the ads with the OMA, and reviewed and approved them for use in the relevant locations prior to displaying. Okay. So the determination. The Ad Standards Community Panel, hereby referred to as the panel, considered whether this advertisement breaches Section 2 of the AANA Code of Ethics, henceforth referred to as the Code. The panel noted the complaint's concerns that the advertisement is 1. Violent, 2. Offensive to Christians, and 3. Distressing to residents by suggesting their city is hell. The panel viewed the advertisement and noted the advertiser's response. Okay, so yeah, this is interesting, and this is a part that I actually kind of do agree with, right? So the panel noted that in order to find a breach of Section 2.1, it would need to determine that the advertisement depicted the material in a manner that was unfair or less favorable or humiliating or inciting ridicule of a person or section of the community because of, in this case, a religion. The panel considered that although the advertisement refers to hell and Diablo, it is not identifying a particular religion. The panel considered that overall the advertisement is not showing a religion in a negative light or suggesting that people who follow a particular religion should be thought less of. Yeah, so the term hell isn't exclusive to Christianity. Obviously, the term hell is, it's a term in English, and it kind of gets a little muddy when you get into kind of like religious syncretism. Christian missionaries back in the day were really keen on taking any kind of reference of unpleasant places in foreign religions and referring to those as hell. But it's not, the term hell itself isn't exclusive to Christianity. Diablo is, obviously is reference to the diabolic. And here we have as well. So the panel acknowledged that people of the Christian faith or other faiths may not like the use of a reference to hell or the devil, Diablo. However, considering that the content of the advertisement itself does not humiliate, intimidate, or incite hatred, contempt, or ridicule of Christian people or other faiths, nor does it suggest treatment of such people in an unfair or less favorable manner. And I think that's the key part. They're not saying that you have to like it. Right, and they understand that if you're a particularly devout member of one of these religious faiths, they can understand that you wouldn't necessarily approve of this. However, by the standards of freedom of speech and freedom of expression and the standards of the advertising standards, they ruled that it isn't singling out either a religion or multiple religions just by using the coding from some of those cultural touchstones that we have. Now, if the billboard depicted Lilith having killed, I don't know, a priest or the Pope or what have you, then I think they could make a case for that, right? But of course they're not going to do that. That would be insane. The panel also noted that the billboard states, "Welcome to Hell City," with the comment indicating that the billboard is not suggesting that the city itself is hell, but rather is inviting residents to play the game. So that's a little funny. And this is them going into how the advert doesn't contain violence. We already talked about that. And the panel was dismissed the complaints. So, yeah. I just want to share this. I thought this was quite amusing. Obviously, when I say it's quite amusing, I'm not saying that to belittle the religious faith or beliefs of this particular person. I would be curious to say if their children were as distressed as they say they were, or if it's just this person had a bit of a moment after they saw a billboard for a video game. Obviously, it's good that we collectively live in societies where someone can voice their opinions like this, even if their opinions, I think, are a little bit overblown. Yeah, they saw a figure that, admittedly intentionally looks demonic, and they took it very poorly. But you know what? There's plenty of Christian art that depicts demons as well, and okay, I get that those aren't advertisements, but the use of devil imagery in advertisements is well established by now. Yeah, I can't. There's no timeline where this complaint went anywhere. So yeah, Activision Blizzard, they got off the hook for this one. Maybe not the other stuff, but they got off the hook for this one. What do you think, everyone? What's your opinion on devils and the satanic occult? And please like the video, Consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you do hit the subscribe button, please say Hail Satan as you do it. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.